forget to subscribe and like today's video. Hello, and welcome back to Order in the Feed. This playlist is completely filled with testimony from defendants. I have picked a handful of trials over the last probably like 5 years of defendants that have testified. It's so uncommon when a defendant testifies on their own behalf in a criminal trial, and I thought, why not put them together and allow you to see just the direct examination and cross-examination of each defendant that has decided their best thought strategy is to tell the story themselves and see what you think. So we are kicking off this playlist series with Alex Murdaugh, and where he testifies in the murder trial of his wife Maggie and son Paul. This is part 2. I've broken up the testimony into 1-hour segments. That way it's not just way too much to consume at one time. So this is the second hour of his direct examination in the trial. If you're not familiar with the Alex Murdaugh case, it's extremely complicated, and maybe not complicated as much as intertwined, and essentially it's referred to as a saga. It's like a never-ending situation. There's so many different facets. He is a now disgraced attorney from the Low Country of South Carolina. He has committed financial crimes against his clients and has pled guilty to those, as well as was put on trial for the murder of his wife and youngest son, Paul. The footage that we are going to be using for his testimony is from the trial channel. I'm going to link them down below. They have a complete playlist of the entire trial. So if you're not completely caught up or feel like you're missing things, they are a great resource in order to get caught up. And they do this amazing edit. They take out the sidebars and different pauses within court and just make it a seamless process. So this is on their website, their YouTube channel, as part 65, 1 of 2. So it isn't a 2-part. He was on the stand in direct examination for, I would say, like the entire day, but I think he started like half day and then went into the other half the following day. So it's broken up into about 4.5 hour segments. I'm breaking them into 1-hour segments. So this is segment 2, hour 2. If you're unsure of what direct examination is, it is when the defendant, his attorney, is asking him questions. So essentially he knows what's coming. He has answers prepared, and there's really no blindsiding or anything in that aspect. So what we're going to do is we're going to head on over to the trial channel. We're going to pick up at the 1-hour mark and kick off the part 2 of my part 2, continuing their part 1 over at the trial channel of this direct examination. Direct examination can be kind of slow. It's not as engaging sometimes as cross-examination. Jim Griffin, his attorney, is the one that's doing the direct examination for him. But don't forget to subscribe and like over at the trial channel as well as here. But I would like to hear your comments below on how you feel like the second hour of Alex's testimony is going. I will be pausing and stopping and giving my commentary along the way. Another YouTuber I like to watch for commentary purposes anyway is my go-to is Emily D. Baker. She gives the best reaction. She explains the legal side of things a lot better and catches things that I may miss or others may miss, and definitely makes it feel like you're watching with someone rather than watching on your own. But so I will also link hers below, and she has a complete playlist as well. So, but this is the first defendant in my defendants that testify playlist, and we're going to continue this with hour 2. So let's get to it.
I think I did. Would think I tried to call them to see.
And now, did you drive down to the kennels in your Suburban?
Okay, we'll pick it up out there.
What did you do when you went up to Paul?
If you watched, which I will be also linking below, but if you watched hour 1, and then you heard me say more than once about the emotion, like how he transitions from telling a story to the emotional breakdowns, I guess you would say, his testimony and how others have felt that it was not authentic or whatever like that. And I pointed out parts that I felt as well. Again, it does not mean that he is guilty. He is not guilty. It doesn't mean lying or not lying. You know, I think it's just a perception that people have. Um, but I do feel like there are times that the emotional overwhelm is an authentic one. And it feels like this one is, but we're going to pick it up from here and kind of see how it goes for him as he talks about finding his son and wife murdered down at the kennels at their home the night in June. I don't remember the exact date, but I do know it was in June.
So he's so bad. At some point, and I know I tried to check him for a pulse. I know I tried to turn him over.
Sorry to pause again so soon, but there is added context to his testimony that is throughout the trial and throughout the previous witnesses that the prosecution had put on. And so if you are unsure of, if you need clarity around things or have questions about things that he says in his testimony or things that I comment on based on the fact that I had already watched the entire trial, then definitely make sure to go back and watch all of the trial or try to. I mean, it was extremely long. But I will also try to reference like around what part of the trial or which witness, if I do reference something prior to his testimony, to help give that context. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. But some things do need a little context. This statement that he says about it being so bad, or Paul was so bad, I don't know this exact, and I need to turn my closed captions on. I'll do that in just a moment. But is in the reason that a lot of people picked up on it is because in the police car right after the murders, he mumbles something, it's unclear. And some say, I believe SLED, the police agency, says that he says, did him so bad. Others say it says that it was so bad. So I will try to pull that video and put in a different playlist, but reference it here. But it is the police video. Prosecution brings in with SLED, which is South Carolina's, stands for something. Yeah, I can't remember what it stands for, but anyway, it's like their state police force. And he is in the vehicle with them. He has a white shirt on in case you couldn't find the video. You probably also just Google Alex Murdaugh police video, and it is a discrepancy in court. They slow it down. Anyway, so it's kind of the blue dress, gold dress, whatever situation on this particular point.
When you say you tried to turn him over, why were you trying to turn him over?
I don't know. I don't know why I tried to turn him over. Me and my boys laid face down. Done the way he's done. His head was the way his head was. I could see his brain laying on the sidewalk. I didn't know what to do. I tried to turn him over. Tried to grab him by the belt loop and try to turn him over. And when I did, his phone popped out. His phone popped out.
One thing I will say is that, so the autopsy photos were obviously not released to the public, but in testimony and others that have later spoke up, I guess Paul's head wound was pretty bad, as you heard Alex say. And what I don't understand is if the inside was on the outside, visibly, why he would try to turn him over. I understand, like, checking for a pulse. I would think that at that point, I doubt that there was one or enough of one, but I can understand wanting to check or to do something. But I don't understand why trying to turn him over when he, being a guy, he had shorter hair, he could have slipped his hand in if that were the case. But I don't know. For me, if the inside of the cranium is on the outside of the cranium, why he would make any movements to him. And then it's interesting to me that he mentions that his phone popped out. And I know that there's a reference in the 911 call, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be about him getting his phone or his phone popping out. And that was very sus to a lot of people. And so I don't want to get too much on what he said on the 911 call or what was referenced, but in the prosecution's case, it is brought up about the phone, which is what he's mentioning here, which is kind of weird. I just don't remember what the exact context was or how that was laid out. So I don't want to give too much and it be incorrect, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of put my 2 cents in there that it was interesting to me that if that were not, if that, with that being the case, the condition of Paul when he found him, according to Alex, or why he would think to turn him over. I mean, he did say he didn't know why, but I just don't know. So anyway, it's interesting.
Just picked it up and I put it right back there.
Do you have any idea how it popped out?
I mean, I know it came out of his pocket when I pulled on his belt lid. When I pulled him to turn him over, and it just popped out. And I mean, it popped right beside him. It sat right beside him.
Were you able to turn Paul at all?
I mean, I did it. I don't know if I was able to. I did it. Turned him over. No.
What side of the or what side of Paul were you when you were doing this?
I was on the side that was away from. I was on the side that was away from where my car was. Yeah.
What'd you do with the phone?
I put it back on Papa.
You know if you put it, you know which way it was pointing, upside down, downside, anywhere?
Couldn't tell you anything about it. I know his phone popped out. I picked it up and I put it back on him.
Did you see any messages on Paul's phone?
No.
Did you go to Maggie?
Did.
Did you touch her?
I did.
Where did you touch Maggie?
I think I touched her down. She's around like, I don't know. If you ask me exactly, I think I touched her down around her waist, but I don't know. So, but excuse me. I know I went back and forth. I mean, I went back and forth between them. I know I did.
I'd like to play, Doug, the Colleton County portion of the 911 call, which is in evidence of defendant's exhibit number 9. And Doug, this is the long version.
Okay, so they're going to play the 911 call. I am going to step away to grab a drink while the 911 call is playing. I do believe he references the phone, as I had mentioned, in the 911 call. So I'm not 100% sure it plays during his testimony, but if I remember correctly, it was in the 911 call. So, but I'm going to let this play through. I am here, but my screen will be off.
The first clip, and stop it when I say stop it, please.
Here, okay.
County County Communication.
I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line calling from 4147 Mobile Room. He's advising that his wife and son was shot.
Okay, and so give me the address again.
It's 4147 Mobile Road. I'm here up to it now. It's bad.
Okay, how did they shoot?
Alan, when you say I've been up to it now and it's bad, what are you referring to?
I'm talking about what I saw was what y'all saw pictures of. It was bad. And when I first got there, I know I got out of the car. And I got out of the car. I mean, I knew got out of the car, but right at first, I didn't go. I don't think I went all the way to them. I think I ran back and that's when I called 911. And so I called 911. And while I was doing that, then is when I went to Maggie and I went to Paul. And so that's what I think I'm talking about.
Keep going, please.
Okay, and are they bleeding?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
Are they in a vehicle?
No, ma'am. They're on the ground out at my kennel.
Okay, and did you see anyone?
Shot in the head, and he shot really bad.
Okay, where is he shot at?
Ma'am, I don't know, but he has blood everywhere. I see his brain face down. I tried to turn it a little bit. Got a hole in her head.
Okay, is he breathing at all?
No, nobody.
Okay, do you see anything? Do you see anyone in the area?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No.
Is there any guns near them at all?
No, I didn't. Here.
They don't leave your house on the outside.
If that's what you're asking, they didn't shoot themselves, ma'am.
Alec, right in there, you say the word here. What are you calling anybody or anything?
No, I'm talking to that dispatcher.
And what did you mean when you said here?
If you listen to that call, one of the first things she asked me was, did they shoot themselves? And I knew there's no way. I mean, I knew they didn't shoot themselves. It wasn't a gun. It didn't shoot themselves. And she'd asked me that. And then she asked me another question, something about that. And you hear me say here, and then you hear the thing talking. I'm telling her here, and then I say something, and then you hear me say, if that's what you're asking. And I'm letting her know they didn't shoot themselves. I'm saying here, and then I give her an explanation, which you can't hear on that phone, but it's obvious to me what I'm doing. And I say, if that's what you're asking me. So like David Owens asked me on August 11th, did I call a dog or was I talking to somebody? There was no dog that was out and there was nobody there.
Well, let's talk about that briefly. Well, when you got there and you saw Maggie and Paul, where were the dogs?
The dogs were in the kennels. Dogs were in the kennels. They were wherever they were when law enforcement got there.
And you've seen pictures, and they called Davis to stand and talk about the hose rolled up. Did you roll the hose up?
No.
Did you do anything down there at the kennels when you got there other than call 911 and attend to Maggie and Paul?
No, I do know that I was trying to find a flashlight. I was trying to find a gun. Other than those things, no, I didn't do anything at the kennel. I didn't do anything with any hose. I didn't do anything with any dogs.
Was there anybody with you?
No.
All right, keep going, please.
You can't see it from the road.
Okay. Okay. And what is your name?
My name is Alex Murdaugh.
Okay. Did you hear anything, or did you come home and find out?
I've been gone. I just went back.
Okay. Was the one up custody in your house?
No, ma'am. I'm home.
Is there somebody out there to you?
Oh, oh, should have known.
Alec, we just heard you say, I should have known. What are you referring to?
I said, Paul, I should have known.
What were you referring to?
I was referring to Paul got so many threats. Didn't take serious. He twice about. So I'm just telling him, Paul, I should have known. I don't specifically remember saying that, but I can clearly hear myself say that.
Okay. What kind of threats did you understand Paul was receiving?
I mean, he got the most vile threats. I mean, the stuff that was on social media. I mean, you couldn't believe it. You couldn't believe it. It was so over the top. Truthfully, we didn't think anything about it. I mean, it was just so crazy that, people talking about what he was going to get and how they were going to do this and get him. And I mean, it's stuff we disregarded it because it's so over the top.
Keep going, please.
Maggie is home.
Maggie is her name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When's the last time you talked to Maggie?
Hour and a half ago, probably 2 hours ago.
Okay, you said about 2 hours ago you talked to them?
You were asked the last time you saw them, and you said hour and a half, 2 hours ago, and then she followed up 2 hours ago. You just heard that?
I did hear that. They said approximately.
When was the last time you saw them, Maggie and Paul?
Right after I took the chicken from Bubba.
And the video we've seen is timestamp 8:44 p.m. Is that correct?
That's right.
Shortly after 8:44.
It was.
And
It wasn't long after that because you can hear when Bubba gets the chicken, and it wasn't long after I took the chicken from him that I left.
and then you called 911. The records of that, but you remember roughly 9:07 or right before 9:07?
And I've seen the records and seen the transcripts. Yeah.
And then this is, and the record of this, but this is some minutes into the conversation with 911 operators, correct?
That's right. Like
Knowing everything we know now, was it roughly an hour and a half the last time you saw him?
it was. That would with the time of however long it took to get to this point, however many minutes that is and however many you can look exactly and see what point this is and know what time it is, but it's between 10 and 10:15. And so I'd seen him around 8:45 after.
All right, please keep going.
And you sure they're moving? Is he moving at all, your son? I know you said that she was shot in the head, but what about your son?
Nobody. They're not going up. He's moving.
Did you go back to the house and get a gun?
I did.
And what's the gun that you got? And how did you load this gun? What did you load it with, if anything?
That was done as best I can remember. I believe I got that gun off the pool table where you heard there was some other gun. I think that gun was laying with that pool table. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure it was on that pool table. Would have been the first place I came to. I know I was grabbing the first gun I could get. I grabbed a handful of shells out of the that I could get my hands on. I know the gun had a shell in it that I loaded, and
Okay, just a moment. I'm not sure if that's the feed or not. I know that they edit the feed to take out like objections and different things like that. So it's a smooth, just straight testimony. But I'm going to try it again. If not, I will have to break this up into two. So let's see what happens.
know I had a few shells. So
Have you seen in this case where there was a 16 gauge shell put in that gun?
I've seen in the records and I've seen and heard in the testimony I put a 16 gauge shell in the gun.
Is that a 16 gauge shotgun?
It's not a 16 gauge shotgun. It's a
Why'd you
12
put a
gauge.
16 gauge shell in it?
I obviously didn't realize what I was doing. And I know you can't put a 16 gauge shell in a 12 gauge gun and not, I mean, I've been hunting my whole life. I know you can't do that. That's not a mistake I would have made. That's not a mistake I'd have made under any circumstances other than that night.
Why did you go back to the house?
I just didn't know. I didn't know. I don't saw it. I mean, it's just, I didn't know if somebody was still out there. I don't know. I guess I didn't know.
Keep going.
And does anything look out of place?
Not particularly, really, no ma'am.
Go back to where he said he's going to my house, get a gun, just a few seconds back. 10 seconds maybe.
Mr. Murdaugh, I don't want you to get a gun and have a gun out whenever my officers get there, okay?
Back up some more. Back up some more.
Just to get a gun, get
What is your telephone number?
942-1227. I'm going back to my house just to get a gun. I'm about 100 yards from my house.
Well, you said you're about 100 yards from the house.
That's what I said.
Is it much further than that?
I mean, as you've heard in the testimony, it's 1,100 and something feet, but
Okay.
I said I was 100 yards.
You were wrong about your estimate.
I'm sure I was wrong.
And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really, no ma'am.
I don't want you to get a gun and have a gun out whenever my officers get there, okay?
I will not do that. He's been being threatened by my son. He's been being threatened for months and months and months. He's been hit some.
Okay, so that scratchiness or that like distortion in the audio is from the 911 call, but he does start to explain that his son has been getting threats. I think he refers to the boat case, which online a lot of people are like, why is he telling it to the 911 officer or dispatcher? If like people feel like it was like a setup, like here's the story, this is why it happened, and this is who did it type of thing. And so I think that's where he is going into that. Again, I'm not sure what's going on with the feed, but I will continue to monitor it.
And you don't know the name of who was threatening him?
My son knows. And my son knows.
Your son knows who was threatening him?
I have another son now.
Okay.
All right, I'm going back down there.
All right. Roll to.
Well, they're closed, ma'am.
Yeah, they've been around with you ever since you got on the phone with me. I have multiple people coming out there to you.
Again, that distortion is coming from the 911 call. Sounds like there's some interference or something. I do know that during some testimony, they said the service at Ozell, where the property that was owned by Alex Murdaugh and his wife, where his wife and son were murdered, was the reception was not the best out there. So I don't know if that has something to do with the distortion, but we'll keep watching. Okay, let me see if I can refresh this feed. I will. So let me see. Okay.
Okay, can you do me a favor, Mr. Murdaugh? Can you turn on the flashers on your car so that way they can see where the kennels are? Do you have your flashes on for me, Mr. Murdaugh?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want you to touch them at all, okay? I don't know if you've already touched them, but I don't want you to touch them just in case they can get any kind of evidence, okay?
I already started trying to get to see if they were breathing.
No. Well, that second clip starts at 22:13, 10:13, 58, and you're asked, you're told don't touch them. Had you touched them by them?
Yes,
And that way you told the 911 operator.
it is.
And can you say exactly 6-7 minutes when you actually touched them?
I know I touched Maggie. I touched Maggie several times, but I mean, don't think I touched Pawpaw, but 2 times.
Did you touch one or both of them before you got in the car and drove back to the house?
Yes. Yeah.
One or both? Do you know?
Both.
All right, keep going, please.
Okay. Well, I just don't want you to move anything just in case they can get any kind of evidence, okay? Okay. And did your son, I know you said that he had been threatened, did your son make reports of this at all?
Yes, ma'am.
He did.
Al, you informed the 911 operator that Paul had made reports of these threats. What are you referring to?
I mean, I just know that it had been reported. I don't know that. I mean, I don't believe there was any like formal police reports or that type of thing, but it had been reported, and I mean, it was well known.
Okay. So, were you saying he had filed some official report when you said yes?
No, I never thought there was a police report or some formal report like that. No.
Do you know whether or not he made some type of report on campus?
Oh, I know he did.
What do you know?
I mean, I know that there was a time when he was asked.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to part 2 of Alex Murdaugh testifying in the murder trial of his wife Maggie and youngest son Paul that he is on trial for. So rarely do you get to see a defendant testify. It's a rare occasion, and when it happens, it's absolutely something that you want to watch. It's engaging. It's really that you feel like you're going to get that why, and it allows you to kind of be able to gauge how the defendant tells their side of the story, right? But rarely do defendants get on the stand. So I started this playlist of a handful of trials of the last 5 or 6 years that I've watched that defendants have testified. And I've compiled them all together with the help of the trial channel over on YouTube. They've done a great job in editing, taking the sidebars and objections out and things like that, and really streamlining the trial content all in one. So first off, let's make sure that we go over and check out the trial channel, hit subscribe and like on their videos. And you're going to want to check out the playlist of the Alex Murdaugh trial if you have not stayed up to date with the case. I'm going to give you a very brief overview, but definitely want to make sure you check out the case in the trial channel. Has all of it for you. So this trial is the murder of Maggie and Paul. And the accused is the husband and father. He is now a disgraced attorney in the low country of South Carolina. He has been, I believe he's been convicted. I know he pled guilty to financial crimes of stealing money from his clients. He then was put on trial for the murder of his wife and youngest son. He has 2 sons, oldest son Buster, youngest son Paul. His wife and son were both killed at their home down at the dog kennels, and he is on trial for that. He has decided to testify, and he testified for, I want to say like 2 days. I think it was like roughly a total of about 16 hours. So what I decided to do was, rather than do an 8-hour stream of the direct and then an 8-hour stream of the cross-examination, I decided to break these up into hour increments. So we got hour 1 in, started hour 2, and there, about halfway through, there was a glitch in the feed. I wasn't sure if the glitch was on my part or if it was something that was happening on the trial channel's video. So after a couple times of it happening, I decided to stop the stream, reset reboot myself, plug, unplug, the really techie stuff that's going on over here. And also use my phone to check the footage, the stream, as if I were just going to watch it. In doing so, I noticed that it was part of the trial channel video. So it wasn't my software. So there's not really much I can do about it. So it wasn't something I could fix and re-record. So what I decided to do is continue hour 2 of the direct testimony of Alex Murdaugh. And then I'm just going to merge them together and I'd say do some fancy editing, but you heard my tech skills last time. If I'm plugging and unplugging for major tech support, don't bet on my editing skills to be seamless. But I am going to just go ahead and put the 2 videos together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pick up where we had left off in the stream. There may be some glitches as we go through the 2nd hour of this, but they do work themselves out. So let's go ahead and get to it. This is direct examination. This is into the 2nd hour of Alex Murdaugh being on the stand with his attorney, Jim Griffin, questioning him. Let's go ahead and get into it.
I can't even remember the gentleman's name now, but I appreciated it so much that I never thought I'd forget it. But
Part of student counseling service?
yeah, he was the dean of students. But anyway, reached out to Paw and wanted to talk to him. And I mean, at first we were concerned, you know, why they want to talk to him? And I mean, even I believe I had Paul come talk to you about that because we were concerned. Well, what are they going to talk to him about? But when Paul and Jim got there, it turns out that it was really just, I mean, they wanted to make sure he was okay. But, you know, just make sure he was okay. And I know that, you know, they were aware of the threats or some level of threats. And so, yeah, I mean, it had already been reported to them.
Ma'am, I'm going to call, I need to call some of my family.
Okay.
On there.
Well, do me a favor for me. Whenever you see the officer or the medics, because they're all coming to you, can you put your gun in your vehicle for me? Okay. But we'll have them come in, turn on the flashes on your vehicle so they can see you, okay? You got the flashes on for me? Okay. All right. Just whenever you see them, put your gun up for me, okay?
Okay.
How old is your son?
22.
Okay. All right. We're getting them out there to you, okay?
So, Alec, did you call family after you got off the call with the operator?
Yes.
Who'd you call?
I know I called my brother Randy. I know I called my brother John, and I know I tried to call Rhoda. Well, Rhoda's not family, but I called Randy and John. And I called Randy and John.
And then you just mentioned Murdaugh.
Rogan. We called him Rhoda. I called him Roro.
Why did you try to call Rogan?
I mean, Rogan's house was like, I don't know, as the crow flies, maybe 2.5 miles, 3 miles. I mean, Rogan was like family.
Did you think he was the closest person?
Yeah, I just wanted somebody. I wanted somebody to be out there.
Had you seen Rogan's name on Paul's phone in any way that night?
No,
You called Rogan answered.
no.
Did you try him multiple times?
Looking at these records, I believe that I did, but I believe some of those are like the FaceTime calls that are to Rogan. I mean, I'm trying to call him, but I don't believe that was me, actually. I didn't FaceTime people. So I think that's either me trying to call him and hitting FaceTime, or that's me hitting buttons or hitting the phone.
So I pointed this out multiple times in this video and in the video one, which you can find linked below, as well as you'll be able to find this playlist link from the trial channel in the description below. But I'm still thrown off, and I would love to hear your comments and thoughts on it. But how he goes from just having a conversation to then like this, like, I don't know, I want to say dramatic, but that's probably not the right word, emotion, and then right back to like the conversation. It's wild. It's like a turn on, turn off thing going on. It's let's keep watching.
Which is the condensed timeline done by Agent Murdaugh. There's an indication, Alec, that at 10:22:09, you opened a group text message from Michael Gunn stating, "She brought the heat for Miami boys." Were you reading text messages from Michael Gunn right after you got off with the 911 operator?
I heard them ask that question. I can promise you I wasn't reading any text messages.
There's also an entry, Alec, that says at 10:40 p.m. that you did a Google search or a Safari browser search for Whaley's at Edisto while your wife and son are laying dead on the ground. Did you do that?
No. Whaley's is a restaurant at Edisto that we ate at a lot of times. We got takeout from a lot of times. So I'm assuming it was in my search history.
Okay, so I have to say, and again, if I didn't mention it already, I have watched him testify more than once in terms of I've rewatched this over on Emily D. Baker's channel, one of my favorite commentators, and during fall break and Christmas break or summer, whatever, whenever a lot of shows are waiting to come back in the fall and so forth and so on, when they're on break, there's not much to watch. This trial is long enough that it's like a couple season show, as well as has all the twists and turns and whatnot. But so I've seen this more than once. Fully paying attention, probably, but I've seen it more than once. I do not remember Jim asking him about these Google searches. I must have just not paid attention or whatever. But yeah, I don't remember these Google searches coming up. So here I am hearing / learning something new right along with everyone else. keep up.
pulling up the restaurant and obviously was trying to call people or dialing, and I hit that. I wasn't doing any Google searches.
And is one of the persons that you dialed that night a wedding photographer?
It's a guy named Brian White. I saw that on the call. Brian White's a guy who was in my, contacts, that is a videographer that I've used in cases. I haven't used him in 2 years. And he's a good guy, but we're not personal friends, so I certainly wasn't calling him.
So what does that indicate to you that those actions on your phone? How do you account for that?
Obviously, they're unintentional. I mean, I'm doing something with my phone trying to call people, but I'm not trying to call those people. I'm not doing a Google search for any Whaley's restaurants, and I'm certainly not reading any text.
You talked about going to Paul's body and Maggie's body. Do you recall getting blood on you, on your hands?
Sorry. I had pause. I realized I did not have it on 1.25 speed, especially for direct examination, because it's already, he knows what questions are going to be asked, and they pretty much should know what question or what answers he's going to give. It kind of goes at a slower pace. It's to keep the jury kind of on track with his narrative, his version, or how he sees it and what he wants them to know. And so it's a little bit slower, and so it's seems to kind of move it along by putting it on 1.25 speed. And I just realized I hadn't turned it on there yet whenever I reset everything. So, okay, here we go.
Any part of you?
Yes. Okay.
Do you know whose blood you would have gotten on you?
I know I got blood on my fingertips.
Can you differentiate, whether it was Maggie or Paul?
Probably both. Except for so much blood. But
There, turns out there was a drop of blood on the steering wheel of the Suburban. Do you know how that got there?
if it was fresh, I put it there. If it was not fresh, Maggie drove my car all the time. I assume it got there from me touching Maggie and then touching the steering wheel that night.
And then I think maybe there's possibly blood on this gun. Maybe not. I mean, do you know if you got transferred blood on anything else?
If Maggie's blood's on that gun, then I put it there. I mean, Maggie didn't really fool with guns other than put them up.
Did you submit to a GSR examination that night?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. And that Brian Murdaugh testified about.
Where your hands were swabbed?
That's right.
And then your clothes were collected by, I don't say no one or someone else.
That's correct.
And turns out there's some GSR on your shirt, on your shorts. And did you handle this gun? This is.
I basically had that gun with me until I put it up against my car. When the police officer, I think it was Mr. Green, got there, I put it against my car.
And I think Nolan had testified that this is, one of the shotguns Paul liked to use.
It is.
Was he meticulous about cleaning his guns?
Pawpaw?
Yeah.
No. Now, when he cleaned it, he was meticulous about it, but it was far and few between when he actually cleaned them.
Your shirt went through testing and
Sorry, kind of delayed pause / reaction, but I was taking notes and listening, and he asked about Paul cleaning his guns, and it was such a very apparent moment to say, when he did it really well, but getting him to do it was, yeah. And I was just thinking, I have one son, and he's not a hunter or anything like that, gun related, but getting him to do certain things similar to maybe cleaning his room, doing it consistently. No, when he does it well. Couldn't imagine handing him a gun. And anyway, I was just thinking about that, and man, if he cleans it, he cleans it. If he don't, he don't. Knowing that those things can cause jams and, well, don't quote me on these. Do not quote me. But pretty sure cleaning it is pretty important. And when he cleaned it and did it really well, it just wasn't frequent. And I was just thinking, that's just typical teenage thing to do. But this is with a weapon. Anyway, so random thought.
analysis, and you were part of this case, provided results of that, were you not?
Yes, sir. I mean, I wasn't providing at the time. I've seen them.
Right.
Seen all these records.
You let me ask you, did you get on your shirt high velocity blood spatter from being within a distance of shooting Maggie or Paul?
There's no way that I had high velocity blood spatter on me.
Had you seen reports that said that at one point in time?
I have seen reports that said that.
Just to be clear, were you anywhere in the vicinity when Paul and Maggie were shot?
I was nowhere near all the Maggies when they got shot.
After SLED collected your clothing that night, the main residence at Moselle, did you remember changing in? Remember what you changed into?
Do I remember?
Right, so I'm going to go back a smidge. I don't know if, hopefully I don't. So I want to comment on something here. I may have went back a little too far, but just bear with me. It shouldn't be too far. Let's see.
I was nowhere near all the Maggies when they got shot. I was nowhere near all the Maggies when they got shot.
Where your hands were swabbed?
That's right.
And then your clothes were collected by, I don't know if it's no one or someone else.
That's correct.
And then turns out there's some DSR on your shirt and on your shorts. And did you handle this gun? This is
Yes. I basically had that gun with me until I put it up against my car. When the
For example.
police officer, I think it was Mr. Green there, I put it against my car.
and I think no one had testified that this is, one of the shotguns Paul liked to use.
It is.
Was he meticulous about cleaning his guns?
Papa?
Yeah.
No.
Way too.
Now, when he cleaned it, he was meticulous about it, but it was far and few between when he actually cleaned them.
Your shirt went through testing and analysis, and you were part of this case provided results of that, were you not?
Yes, sir. I mean, I wasn't provided at the time. I've seen them
Right.
seen all these records.
You just let me ask you, did you get on your shirt high velocity blood spatter from being within a distance of a shooting, Maggie or Paul?
There's no way that I
Oops, sorry. A little too quick. Just a second.
had high velocity blood spatter on me.
Had you seen reports that said that at one point in time?
I have seen reports that said that.
Just to be clear, were you anywhere in the vicinity when Paul and Maggie were shot?
I was nowhere near all the Maggies when they got shot.
After SLED collected your clothing that night
Just a second.
at the main residence at Moselle, did you remember changing in? Remember what you changed into?
Okay. So what I wanted to comment on was when he said, so Jim Griffin asked, about the high velocity blood splatter. And then he says, were you anywhere in the vicinity of Maggie and Paul being shot? And the part I want to comment on is that Alex says, no, I was nowhere in, essentially repeats it back to him. I was nowhere in the vicinity of Maggie and Paul being shot. I've always heard, and I will have to clarify this with, ask my husband about it. He was an intelligence collector in the Army and did some interrogation work and things like that. And so the tactics used in interrogation, like there's things to pick up on. And if I remember correctly, and I've heard, unverified at this moment, memory-wise, that when someone repeats it back to you, a couple things are happening. It's one that they are trying to think of an answer. So like, because he does it again in just a couple seconds here, where he repeats the question back to Jim, and it's like he's giving himself time to think of an answer. But also, essentially, when it's repeated back to you, it is like a sign of deception. And it's usually something that would be honed in on in terms of if he's being like interrogated in a police department, something like that. I'm going to verify that information, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that. And so I'll get back to you guys on it. I'll make a note to get some information to kind of clarify that. But it is interesting. And he's probably done more than once, but it just caught me this time. And I believe he does it again here in just a couple seconds. So, but kind of keep an eye on it and see let's see how many times he repeats it back. I will say, a little spoiler alert, if I recall, and it's been a little bit since I've seen the cross-examination like that, I've had too much time on my hands, I guess, and watched the trial again, but I believe he does it repeatedly when he is cross-examined. So, by Waters, I cannot remember his first name, but Creighton Waters. And so, but we'll get there. But let's just see how he does it here. And like I said, I could be wrong on that, but I do believe that there are times that like that's kind of a tactic or kind of a red flag. So again, I'm going to clarify that. And if you already know the answer, like, and if you have knowledge on that, share in the comments. I absolutely am not an expert in that area of expertise. And as I get older, my memory fades between TV conversations and actual facts. So I could look it up, but what's fun in that? But anyway, so let's continue on.
Do I remember?
Yeah.
I know I changed clothes, and I've learned since then it's what I had on, but I
You don't remember? Okay.
don't remember that at all. But I understand I had on athletic shorts and a t-shirt.
Sure. And other people have talked about this. I'm not going to repeat it, but where did you spend that night, or where'd you go to after leaving Moselle when you left for the evening?
We went to Alameda too. We went to my mom and dad's house. And we stayed there.
And who went with you?
I believe that Bus in Brooklyn and I rode together. John Marvin might have been with us. I know John Marvin stayed at Alameda with us. I just don't know if he rode in the same car we rode in. But I know I rode with Buster in Brooklyn. I know that for a fact.
And the next morning, what'd you do? And we're talking about daylight hours on June the 8th. What did you do? Do
And we basically got up and came back to Moselle.
you remember roughly what time you got to Moselle?
I don't remember. No, I don't remember what time. There's things I remember about that morning, but I don't remember exactly what time we left.
And Alec, we'll get to this more detail, but during that period of time, is it hard to remember times, what time things started, stopped, and how long things took?
I mean, it's definitely hard to remember. Now, looking at these timelines and all these records, I mean, it sure helps, but to just do it off the top of my head is very difficult.
And we'll get to more of that. When you went back to Moselle on the morning of June the 8th, do you know whether you took a shower there, or took a shower at Alameda, or took a shower at all?
Now, I know we took a shower at Moselle. I did not take a shower before I left Alameda. We basically got up and went to Moselle. Maggie's mom and dad,
They were there.
they were coming.
See, first off, let me clarify. I am not laughing as if it's a funny matter, because it's not a funny matter. It's a murder trial. It's a very sad situation. And I cannot say if this emotion is genuine and this is how he goes on, off, on, off. I don't know the man. I can't say he's lying. I can't say he's not lying. I don't know any of that. But what I will say is this is kind of an example of what I have kind of like pointed out in during stream and this testimony is I've never really seen someone do that. Like, it's not like you can't see it coming. You just come. Now, again, let's see what happens when he is not thinking about Maggie's parents in that emotional moment. Does he kind of click right back over to telling what happened? Or does it take him a minute to kind of emotionally transition back into telling? I don't know if that makes sense, but I think you possibly got to see what I'm trying to say.
So we got up from Alameda and we left and we went to Moselle.
And do you know? Do you even recall SLED coming in and searching the house for anything on the 8th?
I knew that. I knew they were doing it. Yeah, I knew they were doing it. But I don't remember. I wasn't out in that gun room and see all that video and all that. But I knew SLED, was coming in there. I mean, we made the house available for them to come in there. So I mean, I can't tell you details, but yeah, I remember it.
Did you at one point just tell SLED they had carte blanche to search anywhere, anytime?
I told SLED they could do anything, anywhere, anytime that they wanted to. Anything to do with me, my property, my cars. Even though I didn't own the cars, I would get my law firm owned the cars. I would have the people. They had full, whatever they wanted, they were welcome to.
And did you have any discussions with David Owen or anybody at SLED about consenting to General Motors to get that off the car?
Every time that I talked to David Owens, I would ask him about getting OnStar data and GPS data from phone.
And why was it important to you to get OnStar data and GPS data from the phone?
To confirm where I was saying I went, what I did, GPS. At that point in time, I knew that Maggie's phone had been taken. And I knew that my Suburban and my phone and Maggie's phone never crossed paths. And that was extremely important to me. And I asked him about it every single time we talked. Every single time.
Did you know her password to her phone?
Yes, I knew her password.
Do you know her password to her computer?
Yes.
Did she know your password?
Yes.
And when Maggie's phone was located on the side of the road, did you provide SLED the password to her phone?
I did. I think I actually provided it to John Marvin, who provided it to SLED, but I'm the one who gave it to him.
Right. And your knowledge that Maggie's have these location services on her phone, she used them frequently.
All the time. One of Maggie's things that she liked to do was there's that app called Find My Friends that you can see what other people are doing and they can see what you're doing. Maggie loved me, Bus, Pawpaw, Brooklyn, Grandma, Marion, the three girls, Lizzie, and there were a few others, but the people that were closest to her, she had them all in her phone, and she loved to look at that phone and see where people are, and she'd love to surprise you. Like, let's say you're at Walmart, she looks on there, and she'd love to text you, get me a TV from Walmart or something, you know, like she follow you and see where you were. She used it all the time. And so, you know, I just knew that there would be GPS data on Maggie's phone.
Now, when you're being interviewed on the night of June 7th and again on June the 10th, what was your understanding as to why they were interviewing you? Why were you being interviewed?
On June the 7th and June the 10th?
Yes, sir.
What's the question again?
What is his understanding of why SLED was interviewing him on the night of June the 7th and again on June the 10th?
And the basis for the objection?
401K, so you're on.
What do you mean?
Relevance, Your Honor. His understanding is not important. What he said is important, Your Honor.
Well, I can, it goes to his, you know, his follow, it goes to his state of mind. I mean, that's what it goes to.
What's the thing?
Why was it important to you to be able to get data from the Suburban, data from your phone, and data from Maggie's phone?
I knew at that point in time, I knew since I was the person who found Pawpaw and Mag that I was a suspect. I mean, they kept talking about this circle, but I mean, I knew that it was very important for me to find that, to get that.
And what was your belief as to that information? What would it have done for you?
There's no question in there that it would demonstrate that I couldn't have done this.
And when was the data from General Motors off that Suburban finally obtained?
It was either this past Saturday or the Saturday before that, according to what was said in this courtroom.
During this trial?
Absolutely.
And to your knowledge, was GPS data ever able to be located off Maggie's phone?
No, I mean, not just to my knowledge, it was not able to be gotten. You know, the testimony was in here that it couldn't be gotten. It only went back to June the 9th. Everything before that was erased on Maggie's phone.
Now, when starting June the 8th, when that Moselle got a lot of people come to support you, be with you on June the 8th.
On June the 8th,
Yes,
like the next day.
Right.
Yes, sir. A lot of people.
And you mentioned your Maggie's parents and family came as well.
Yes, sir.
From that moment, June 8th, when folks, family came to Moselle and you met with them, were you left alone by any of your family members the rest of that week?
No, I mean, I was attached to Buster at the hip, but I mean,
What happened on,
I wasn't.
What happened on June the 10th, besides being interviewed by SLED?
My dad died. My dad passed.
Where did you stay? And with whom did you stay on the night of June the 8th, the night of June the 9th, the night of June the 10th?
On the night of June, you asked me to start on the 8th?
The 8th, yes, sir.
Right. Starting on the 8th, I stayed with Buster every night. I stayed with Buster, and as long as Brooklyn was there, I stayed with Buster in Brooklyn. But we stayed with, I'm pretty sure that's beginning on the 8th. I know the 7th we stayed at Alameda, and I believe on the 8th we started staying at John Marvin and Lizzie's at Greenfield.
And how
Which
far is Greenfield from Alameda?
As the crow flies, I mean, it's no distance. It's less than 5 minutes. It's probably a few minutes away.
And who stayed there? Did John Marvin and his wife Liz stay there as well?
Yes, John and Lizzie. John and Lizzie stayed there, and their kids, Bus and Brooklyn and I know Bubba and Maymay stayed there. Well, Lizzie's mom and daddy stayed there, and my daddy's best friend and his wife came in there. I believe they came before my daddy passed. I know they came after he passed and stayed there.
And that, how many nights do you recall staying there at Greenfield?
So I stayed at Greenfield. Like the 7th was a Monday. I stayed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Greenfield. I know that for a fact.
And the Maggie Paul's funeral was Saturday, is that right?
No, I heard that in this courtroom say it was Saturday, but
So the memorial services?
no, their funeral was on Friday.
I was on Friday.
I know that for a fact too.
And then your father's funeral was on Sunday?
My father's funeral was on Sunday, and it was my father's funeral. I forget the term. Sunday. I mean, that's when we put Papa and Max. That's when we buried him. We didn't bury him when we had the service on Friday, so I don't think they were done. That's when we buried them, just along with my dad.
And Alec, what did you do with the following week, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Starting when now?
So the day after your dad's funeral,
All right, Monday. I went to Grandma and Papa T's, Somerville.
at some point, Monday.
In the afternoon. You mean what did I do when I got up that morning?
Where did you stay?
We stayed at Greenfield Sunday night. So we woke up at Greenfield on Monday.
So, and Sunday night you were with the same family members, your brother and Brooklyn and Buster and
That's right.
Liz.
And Lizzie and Lizzie's mom and dad. And I believe Donnie and Paula were still there, but I can't remember when they left.
And then you went to Somerville with whom?
I believe I went to Somerville by myself, but I know Buster in the car by myself. I can't remember if Buster and I rode together, but I think we might have had separate cars. We probably did ride together that first day. I don't remember, but I know I went to Somerville and Buster was in Somerville with me, with Grandma and Papa T.
And Somerville is where Maggie's parents live?
That's right. Maggie's mom and dad. Maggie's mom is Grandma, and Maggie's dad's Papa T.
And did you stay with them for a few days in Somerville?
I stayed with them longer. In Somerville, yeah, I stayed with them. We stayed in Somerville Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then we went to Greenville.
Okay. And what was in Greenville?
My niece, that was she was having a baby. And Maggie had just been so excited. She's just so proud of those girls. She was so excited about the baby. And so the baby being born just became such a big deal to me.
Was the baby born?
Yeah.
Okay. And you went,
Yep, baby was born. Beautiful little baby girl, beautiful little mom.
And then did you go up to the lake after that?
We did. Well, I mean, we stayed at this lake, Kiowee, that y'all heard about, is really close to Greenville. And so when I say we went to Greenville, we really went to Lake Kiowee. But we went up there because, and when she had baby, I want to say the baby might have gotten born shortly after we got there, like Thursday, but I think it was Saturday before we could go and see them and see my niece and see the baby. So, that's where we went, was to Lake Kiowee, but they live in Greenville.
On the morning of June 16th, I think that was that Wednesday. I think that's a Wednesday. Where'd you wake up?
Somerville.
Did you ever go to Alameda on that day?
On Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe so.
Did you go to Alameda at 6:30 in the morning on this?
I know for a fact that I didn't go to Alameda at 6:30 in the morning. I was in Somerville. I didn't go to Alameda at any point early in the morning. I was in Somerville, and I'm not positive about this, but I know they did I know some of those records they have. It was sometime before I left Somerville.
Okay. Did you ever take during that week? Let's just start with that week following your dad's funeral. Did you ever take a tarp into the house at Alameda? A blue tarp.
The week following my dad's funeral?
Yes.
No, I did not.
There's been nowhere in any boxes by this blue rain jacket. Have you ever seen that?
Never seen it before. Never touched it. Don't know anything about it.
Did you ever remember taking a tarp at any point in time over the house at Alameda?
No, I don't remember it. I don't remember taking a tarp over there, but Shelley's got something in her mind about that. And there may have been some point, but I certainly don't remember it. And it certainly wasn't any time around my dad's funeral or the weeks following.
I think we talked briefly about your recollection of times, and
Okay.
and I just want to play Doug from State's Exhibit 517, which is the August 11th interview, starting at 5 minutes and 52 seconds. You could pull that clip up, and I want you to listen to this.
Okay. Tell me again what it is.
It's August 11th interview, starting
Okay.
at 5 minutes and 52 seconds.
Who was at your house when you left? And what time did you go to the office? Who was at your house when you left? And what time did you go to the office?
We had been to a ball game that weekend. I don't remember exactly what time it would have been.
Somewhere between 8:30 and 9:30, probably, or 10 o'clock maybe at the latest. Something like that.
Now, on this tape, were you being asked when you went to work on the 7th?
Yes.
And you said 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning?
And then I think it said 10 o'clock at the latest.
Is that correct?
No, it wasn't.
Now I've seen all these records. What does it look like? What time you went to work on the 7th?
A little afternoon.
All right. If we'll go to the Doug States Exhibit 243, which is the June 10 interview.
You know, Mr. Griffin, on that same date,
Okay, so we're just a little bit over the 2-hour mark. We're going to let me see here. Let's see how long. Oh, so we're going to finish up the time discrepancies. We'll stop it there and then start part 3 for hour 3. But we're just about done wrapping up with the second hour of Alex direct examination.
also, if you play that thing, and I don't know if it's right then, but if you play that further, I also told him the best way to see exactly when I went in that door is to go and get my information from my law firm. And I told them that we have how things are electronic now, where you don't have a key, you have a key card, and you have a key card in your wallet. And so when you use it, it creates like all this other stuff, a digital footprint. And I told David Owens that he could go get it from my office.
And was that a common response of yours when you were asking about specific times, that you would give them your best estimate, but you would point them to where they could find the most accurate data?
Yes, sir.
You did that more than once?
Yes, sir.
So if we've got the June 10th interview, which is States Exhibit 243, and Doug, I'd like to go to 9 minutes and 59 seconds. And here you're being asked, when did Paul arrive at Moselle?
So roughly what time in the afternoon?
I would think it'd be somewhere in the 5 o'clock range, a little bit. It was broad daylight when it wasn't dusk, dark, or late.
Okay.
And we rode, we just rode around. We rode around.
So did you tell him on June 10th that Paul got there at 5 o'clock time period?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I obviously did.
And was that incorrect?
Yes, sir. It was incorrect.
But what time looking at the record now, what time did it look like Paul actually got there?
And looking at the records, it's clear that he got there sometime around 7 o'clock.
At some point in time, you have a conversation with Shelley Smith about how long you were over at Almeda on the night of June the 7th. Do you remember?
I don't distinctly remember having a conversation with her about how long I was over there, but I know that I told Shelley Smith that SLED was going to come and talk to her, and that I'd appreciate it if she would talk to them, and that she just needed to tell them the truth.
And did you take extra?
So Shelley Smith, and we're going to stop this here and then start the 3rd hour in the part 3. But Shelley Smith, if you have not, sorry, Jim, it was an awful pause. But if you look behind him, one of the prosecutors looks like he's just in distress. Sorry.
Care not to talk to people.
So Shelley Smith is one of the aides that was caring for Alex's mother. And so if you check out the trial channel, she actually testified earlier on and had stated that, I don't recall exactly how long after the murders, but essentially she said that he was telling her, remember, I was here at this time. I was here at this amount, how much time he was there. And she's like, she didn't remember it that way, but he was pretty much trying to tell her that this is when he was there, to tell SLED. And he's obviously saying, no, that's not what I had said to her. I told her that SLED would want to talk to her and just, force it on whatever he just said, essentially cooperate. I cannot remember that attorney's name that's behind Jim, or to the left area of Jim right there, but it's cracking me up. Let's pause. So, but Shelley Smith is the aide that was helping care for his mother. So, and that testimony is, I want to say in the earlier part of the trial, but the trial channel has all of those broke down and eyewitness, and they have the actual date of the trial and then how they break it up into different parts. So we're going to wrap up this second part here. This is hour 2. If you were watching these in real time, like I said, it's about 8 hours, give or take. I think he went on the stand halfway through a day, and then it carried on into the next day and cross-examination. But I'm going to, like I said, break them up into hour bits. one a day if you wanted to, or they will be compiled together if you want to marathon watch them. But by breaking them up this way, it kind of makes it stopping point wise. If, like for myself, I'll be like, oh, I have to get kids and so forth, so on. And so it kind of helps me to keep track of where I'm at in a podcast or whatever it is that I am binge watching / listening to. So thank you so much for joining and watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe. Don't forget to go check out the trial channel, and everything will be linked down below, including how you'll be able to find part 3.